This segment is sponsored by iChiro Clinics and Peak Performance Integrated Medicine. Now is the time to book an appointment and see what Dr. Michael Quast and his integrated approach to helping patients might do for you. And Dr. Quast is with us now. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well too. This is kind of an interesting topic we're talking about today. You call it faulty movement patterns. And I think this is something probably a lot of people do with the best
Yeah.
of intentions, right?
Yeah. So we're learning new stuff all the time, right? People don't, I think, realize that, but new information, new data, new research all the time. And so one of the things we now know is when you have an injury or a trauma, the muscle and tissue that's injured, your brain will often take that tissue out of play, put it on the bench, so to speak. So it's not being used because it's hurt. This can then create a faulty movement pattern, or what a lot of people have heard about, like a compensation pattern.
Yeah.
The problem is when that sticks with you, now you have this bad pattern that you're walking around with, and you're not going to perform as well. You're going to be more likely to have injuries. And, anytime you do anything, it's going to be putting excessive wear and tear on the joints of the body that are involved.
Never mind, you also have that old injury sitting on the bench, as you said. You've not addressed that and you've created a new problem, right?
Yeah, so many of the people we see when you sit down and you go, when did this first start? Whatever the problem is, back, hip, neck, shoulder, knee, whatever, right? They often will go, oh, when I was 18, and they're like 50 plus. And then it's like, what was done about it? I rubbed dirt on it and got back on the field, right? Like, or
Yeah.
whatever it was. Like it's not good to have these bad movement patterns. And the problem is if you're not being tested with the mobility testing that we do, you don't know you have a bad movement pattern. And it's kind of like this. Like if I'm like this, I can go to the gym every day and work out.
Yeah.
It doesn't fix this problem. It strengthens the bad pattern. And so what happens is you have people that are like working out all the time. They're working out, and they're thinking, oh, I'm doing so good. And yeah, you are. Like, we all need to work out more. But it's not going to necessarily fix a bad movement pattern. It's going to reinforce it, which then makes more damage on the joint. And all these people think that just working out is the answer to everything, and it's just simply not. It's important, but we got to get the pattern right first, and that's one of the things we do is we get these patterns back to how they should be, or as close as you can.
Yeah. So, what does the diagnostic piece of that involve, Dr. Quast?
Yeah, it's real simple. So it's just basically range of motion testing and some orthopedic testing, how far you can bend and move and turn. Like we always talk about, when you see somebody who can't do one of those physical mobility tests, whether it's touching their hands behind their back, the shoulder test, or putting their heel to their butt, or having full 90 degrees range of motion in their neck, these are just a few. But when you see that, you got to then go, well, why can't you move?
Mm.
Muscle. If the muscle's so tight it doesn't let you move, what's it doing to the joint? Compressing it. If the muscle's so tight, why? Oftentimes it's a pattern that your brain has adopted, and we have to re-educate that pattern and get it back and restore that motion and mobility so you can have the quality of life that you want.
Mm. And in fact, all that time in the gym spent trying to fix whatever it is that's painful, that is super destructive.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, it's like such a catch 22, right? Because if I have a bad pattern and I'm just really stressing it over and over and over, I reinforce the pattern, and I'm going to cause degenerative change in the joints. And we see a lot of degenerative change in joints, which is why we have the regenerative part of what we do, to try to regenerate any of that cartilage and tissue that's been worn away or damaged. But what if you could just stop that from happening? And educating people about these movement patterns, I think, is our first step. It's just a lot of people don't understand it. They're not up on the research of what's coming down the pipe recently. And so we want to get that word out so people know what's going on and can have the best results for, whatever it is that they like to do in life physically, whether it's walking the dog or being a professional golfer and everything in between.
All right. Well, folks, if you'd like more information or to book an appointment and get that assessment, call 616-447-9888 or visit peakperformanceintegratedmedicine.org. Dr. Quast, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.